Hey guys, we just had a really interesting interview with Coach Nacho Porto. I think you're gonna really enjoy it and learn so much from it. We talked about the evolution of the sport of paddle from the 80s till now. We talked about training methodologies. What are some of the mistakes you're probably making in your paddle training and mistakes that professional paddle players are making in their training? There's so much to learn, so pay close attention. We also talked about the different styles of play in paddle and some of the different styles of play we see on tour. And also what makes some of the great players right now great, like Galan, Tapia, Chingotu, and LeBron. There's so much to learn. There's also a fun take segment we did in the end. So watch and let us know what you take, because there is a lot to learn, my friends. All right, welcome everyone to another episode of the Paddle Pulse podcast powered by TSH Paddle. We're very lucky today because we have a special guest.
Yes.
And, part of our mission is to share and spread more knowledge and information about the sport of paddle, and also for ourselves to learn a lot about paddle.
Yep.
And we have one of the coaches who is always adding unique information and maybe correcting a lot of misconceptions we have about the sport of paddle.
Yeah.
And we're lucky to have Coach Nacho Porto with us today, everyone. Welcome, yes. Nacho, to the pod.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I love to be here with you. I love to talk about paddle. So it's my pleasure that you invite me. Thank you very much.
Amazing.
Yeah, awesome. Nacho and, or should we say Coach Nacho. Maybe just for those who don't know you, Coach Nacho, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background in paddle?
Very quickly, okay? So I started playing paddle in my hometown in Cádiz when I was 10 years old. Cádiz is in the south of Spain, around 2 hours from Malaga, which probably more people will know Malaga than Cádiz. From there, I started playing, competing, and then when I was 18, I started coaching as well, not as my main job, because I studied a degree in engineering. So actually, my background from the studies point of view is engineering. But then I keep on playing, competing, coaching part-time until 4 years ago, I decided to change my life completely. I moved from Spain to Finland, and I decided to live the bullshit corporative life because I was very involved in the corporative life in the energy sector as an engineer, and now I'm doing just coaching. That's what I've been doing the last 4 years.
Amazing.
Awesome.
Love to hear
it. Yeah, and what was the trigger to get into it full time and focus, and how has your approach as a coach changed over the past few years?
I have always loved paddle. I watching paddle all the time, playing paddle. My girlfriend, my parents is surprised that you are in the sofa and you are watching paddle. They were always like, you maybe you are not too normal. You're watching paddle too much. And so when I was working as an engineer, unconsciously it was there. This thing of what about working with something related to paddle, and coaching was there always, But actually, if to be honest, it was not something was calling me like too much. Like I was just thinking, okay, something related to paddle, I would love to work in. And then when we moved here in 2021, it was basically, there was a turning point in my life. So I was really stressed. I started to have a little bit of anxiety. So I knew that, okay, now is my moment. There is some call there that is saying, Nacho, that's your moment to change. So we moved to Finland for a while to have the paternity leave because my baby was born at that time. And then I gave a chance to coaching here because in Finland, 4 years ago, when paddle started to grow a little bit. And from there, I decided, okay, this is my thing. I got a lot of students. People like it a lot, my approach. And then from there, I start to study a lot about everything. And then now I feel that at least nowadays, this is my thing. This is the thing I enjoy a lot. I don't feel I'm working because I love it.
Awesome. Awesome.
Do what you love, and you're never gonna work a day in your life.
You know that sentence? When I was in the bullshit corporative life, I thought that sentence is bullshit. And I'm 100% sure that most of the people that they don't enjoy their work, which is the majority of the people, unfortunately, I know that they think that sentence is bullshit. But it's real. I mean, it's real. It's very difficult to get it, but it's real. So at least I feel it.
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. Somebody's living the dream. At least somebody's doing it.
Yeah, I'm very lucky. I know, and I know that not everybody can do it because everybody has different circumstances. But I think many people could do it, but you have to be brave. You have to be brave.
Yeah. I can say that we also are doing something that we love. So the fact that we're talking to you today about paddle, we love paddle. I think paddle, the emergence of paddle gave so many people a chance to do something they love every day. You from the coaching side, us, I guess, from the media side, podcasting side. So the fact that we get to sit and talk about paddle and we could call it a job is obviously a dream as well. So that's awesome to hear. And I guess we're lucky in a way because the fact that you're here talking about something you love, I think we're going to get lots of interesting conversations going. So Nacho, I wanted to ask you because we as fans, we've been following the sport, as we told you, probably for over 5 years now. You've been following this sport for over 20 years and playing it your entire life. So you know the evolution of the game and how it has changed. And you had said how you're actually interested in talking about the evolution of the game. So can you teach us, like, what do we not know about the evolution of paddle from when you first started watching and playing to where it is now?
Absolutely. To be honest, beside those, like Nerone, Reca, those guys who are coaching now the professional players, I don't think that there are many coaches that they have followed the whole evolution of paddle. The only generation I missed is the one of the 80s, 85, because they were actually playing in Argentina. But let's say the youngest one from that generation, I have even seen them because they started to travel to Spain when in Argentina there was the crisis. So I have very good picture of the whole evolution of paddle. Yeah. So it's really interesting if you put on YouTube paddle from the 90s and you watch those tournaments in Argentina. People tend to think that paddle before it was very slow. Mm. But actually, if you watch those matches, it was really fast.
Yeah.
Yes. Really fast, actually. Really. Lot of transitions, lot of battles in the net, lot of nice shots. For example, many players think that, like this rulo, even blocking those smashes when the guys are going to put 4 meters the ball out after a smash. Like they think this is a new thing. If you watch those matches, you will see that most of those shots, they were already, let's say, invented. So they were doing those shots. Yeah. So basically, the sport evolved from there. It was quite fast. Then it started to be a little bit slower when they came to Spain, and then there was grass. Then it became a little bit slow. But then after that, they introduced a ball, which is a brand that I don't think exists anymore. It was Vision, which was like so fast, like crazy fast. And at that time, it was when Vela and Juan Martín Díaz, they were winning all the tournaments. So they say that from the organization point of view, they thought we should change the ball because these guys are winning all the tournaments, so this is becoming a bit boring. So they changed the ball, and then it became a little bit slower again. Still, they were winning. And now, let's say today, I think we are I think it's okay. Like we are finding the balance to make the sport in some tournaments too fast. For example, the last tournament in Santiago, especially in the daytime, and then some tournaments that they are not that fast. And I think the sport should go in that way. For example, let me introduce one topic very quickly. Some coaches, even professional coaches, are saying that padel should be an indoor sport. Then there are others that they say, well, indoor, but some of the tournaments should be outside. For me, it should be both, because if you think in any other sport, like at least that it comes to my mind, the conditions don't change so much from indoor to outdoor like in padel. And for me, that's good, because that gives variability, that gives something different. If you're just playing always same condition indoor, I mean, it becomes boring.
We just had this conversation just like yesterday, discussing whether padel should be an indoor sport or not, and we had disagreements.
What do you think?
I think that it should be indoor. At least more tournaments should be indoor. Maybe if you want to do outdoor, at least consistency outdoor, like not like, I don't know if this example that I keep on using all the time was there was a tournament.
Come on, Haroon, be honest. You said you want all tournaments to be indoors.
Okay. I want all of them to
Come on. The podcast, we should record the podcast. Nacho can go watch it.
I want all of the tournaments to be indoors, because I feel indoors is more fun, at least from a viewer's perspective. I want to see more exciting padel and more smashes, more creative shots, where it's not going to be just safe, very short, safe balls that they're playing because they're afraid of the
What
wind.
happened in Santiago was safe, Haroon?
Give him your example of Venezuela.
So so in Venezuela, for example, coach, like there was a tournament in Venezuela where they had the court right next to the water. So every time they hit a lob, like it's going in the water. There's this super conditions, bad conditions, and it wasn't great. And if you watch players that are, if you're already kind of a passive player, somebody that doesn't hit that many smashes, you're even hitting less smashes, and the paddle gets a little bit more boring, in my opinion. But so I wanted things to be more indoor, and if you want to change the surface, that's how you add variability, and maybe make some surfaces slower, faster, change some other things, maybe in the glass, make it a wall. That was my opinion. Yousef and Ismaeel think that no, they want indoor, and indoor is much better. And
no, indoor and outdoor.
Sorry, outdoor.
Yeah.
They want outdoor.
We agree with you, Nacho. I was talking about the variability between the two. The fact, I know lots of people were complaining, for example, last week in Santiago, Chile, how the conditions and the balls are not, the rallies go no longer than 5 shots. And I'm like, I like to see different styles. How can players adapt to different conditions? And can they, it's this in Miami, it was different. Then they went to Chile, it was different. Can the players adapt? And so we can see different players have great tournaments and have deeper runs. And I don't like to see the same thing over and over again. So that was my stance, at least.
I like to see Tapia and Galan in the final every single time. I don't mind seeing the best players face every single time. That's my opinion.
I agree with you. I think more indoor than outdoor, but I think outdoor we should also keep it, because if not, I don't know if it happens to you. There were 2 tournaments last year. They were, I think, was in the Nordic countries in Europe. So they were indoor. The background was black. It was this kind of background that they put all dark around, and then the lights are on. So there were 2 tournaments with similar conditions in a row. So when I was watching them, I actually didn't know if I was watching the same tournament. And then there is one thing that they are saying, that, for example, in Santiago, actually the conditions in the morning are very different than in the evening. So that's a good point. But for me, that's part of you are professional. You are very good. They say you should be able to adapt. In the morning you have this condition, then in the evening you have different, and you should, if you are really good, you should be able to adapt and to find solutions to every condition that you get.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, we're gonna have to then. Yeah, I'm gonna have to give up my opinion and agree with you. You're the expert. You're the expert in.
No, but I mean, it's good that you question. One of the things that we are losing is that people are not questioning anything that's the gurus are saying. So thank you for questioning.
Yeah.
Well, it's just me from an entertainment point of view. Like,
Yeah, exactly. I
but also
understand.
when you play, then do you enjoy playing in outdoor conditions? But you as a player, you would like to play in indoor conditions, no?
Yes, because most of the people, what they want is to have fun, right? Like, but I mean, like, if you want to learn, you are gonna learn much more if you play indoor and outdoor, 100%. If you want to just have fun, of course, I want the best condition because I don't want that anything bother me. It's okay, but you need to know what do you want.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Well, I want to ask you also, Coach. What do you think that the game is evolving in a particular direction for the past 5-10 years? Like, do you see it going in a specific direction, or where do you see it going exactly? The paddle game right now.
As I told you, if you watch paddle from the 90s, that the conditions were faster, it was difficult to win the point even from the net because the ball didn't bounce that much. So there were a lot of transitions. So the players were ending up all together at the net.
Yeah.
Then this was lost a little bit in the 2000, 2005. There was much more building the point from the back, waiting the opportunity. And now I think the young generations, they don't want, they don't want to speculate. They say, okay, 2-3 shots, let's go, let's enter to the net and let's enter in the battle. So I think that's the way it's evolving now. There is much more interactions in the net between the players than, let's say, 10 years ago. Which for me is good. There are coaches that are coming from the past generations that they don't like that because they are used to have more organized paddle, more order, let's build the point, no rush, blah, blah, blah. But thank God, I tell you, thank God, the juniors, they don't give a shit. So really, I mean,
So you
they
think
don't
that's a
give a
good?
shit.
Why?
For me, it's good because the coaches, all the coaches, including myself, like we tend to intervene too much on the way the players should play. We want them to play in a way that we think is correct. But I mean, of course, you have to try to guide them. Okay, I think for your abilities, this type of game should be more beneficial. But at the end of the day, the player is the one who really feels, okay, which kind of game do I feel comfy? And if most of the juniors are doing that, it's because somehow, because of the culture we have nowadays, because of the society, whatever, they feel that's the way it feels natural. So we shouldn't stop it. Actually, if you try, they don't care because we see that they've been taught don't do that much, and they are still doing it. So for me, it's good. Then they have to find the balance, obviously.
Yeah.
But the coach naturally he's gonna tell you, no. We play this way. This ball goes there. This one there. Don't go there. Blah blah blah. And for me, the coaches have to find also the balance to give the player freedom and somehow also guide him
That's
based on the abilities.
yeah. That's interesting that you say because us when we got into the game, we learned it in a way where that exact same way. Like we build a point and you're defensive in the back, and then you hit the lob, and take the net, and then wait for your shot, and then finish it. Play bandeja until you get a really good ball, and then you hit your smashes. But then you see players like Leo Ausberger and other players like Cardona, the bandeja is gone now. No more bandeja, and it's just smash or rulo, and then volley, go approach the net very quickly and try to win it. So do you think that players are more kind of going in that direction as well, where there's no more bandeja? Is the bandeja dying? Or even maybe players that are, like Leo Ausberger, the bandeja or Vibor are kind of dying as well.
I think most of the players, the good players, they are doing more. I think that this naming the shot is a bit problematic for amateurs players because
Yeah.
they say, well, what do I do? I do vivo or I do bandeja, and then they start to get trouble. So I usually call right overhead. Okay, you hit here, and then do whatever you feel, do whatever works.
Okay.
Some players hit more in the side, some players more in the back. Under the ball. So, but what is true is that this kind of soft shot, right overhead soft shots, we are not seeing it anymore. Now we see something with a lot of spin and actually quite fast.
Yeah.
Quite fast. But for me, there is something that it has to change, which is when you go to a training, when you hear people talking about padel, there is a culture of avoid mistakes, consistency, play safe, build the point, and there is this culture. Like I think it's coming from Argentina, and it's being transmitted to Spanish, and now Spanish are transmitting this to all around Europe. But the reality is, when you get a new player, is coming from another sport. Most of the time, they don't want to play that way. They are aggressive. They take risk. They want, they want things to happen. But then the coach say, no, too risky. No, this is more about, and then little by little, we are setting the mindset of player, and I have done it. And I started to change a little bit that framework. Because I tell you, I've been in Finland 4 years. Players have started padel 4 years ago. I have put a lot of emphasis on that framework, consistency, and avoid mistakes, blah, blah. And I don't see that the players have got very consistent with that framework. So now I started to change a little bit, not going from one side to the other, but okay. Whenever we have the occasion, let's be more aggressive. Let's not be that scared to make mistakes. I don't know where it's gonna bring me, where the players are gonna go, but I think padel needs a little bit of this kind of refreshing ideas and new culture, because it's too much about avoiding mistakes.
It's very
nice.
interesting that you say that, because that's exactly how, if you go to Belgium, if you go to Egypt, Saudi, like all of the countries that are still learning padel now are learning it that exact same way you're talking about. And even when like us get a little bit more better at padel, we start to also teach other people coming in with the same way. Be consistent, try to be consistent, don't be aggressive. Same exact thing that you're talking about. So it's like, very interesting that you're saying that.
I think this has to do, last thing I would like to say is, for example, you are in Cairo. So one thing I've been thinking now, the sport is so young. So for me, there are many things that there have to be still invented, created. For example, the way of coaching. Professional coaching has been maybe really, let's say, professional. People who are really living by coaching in Spain, not more than 15 years. So I question that that's the way to train. There are many other ways to train. I'm 100% sure. But even the way to play, people go to Spain to learn, and they are learning the Spanish way. But I mean, you have such a good opportunity to make, the Egyptian way. I don't know if you can say that, or the Finnish way, or the Belgian way. I understand you go to Spain because they're where the best players are. And I think you should go to get inspiration, but not to copy and paste. I think for me, that's a mistake.
Very nice. I love this point, because it's true. Even in tennis, you have like the Russians, for example, more counter punchers. In tennis, they, very good backhands, play from the baseline. Americans more aggressive. They have great serves and volley. That's very nice. That's very nice.
Yeah, but that's gonna take a long time. Decades, because most people are still learning the sport still quite now. Maybe to develop a philosophy.
Yeah, it takes time, but I think it's very important that every country develops their own philosophy. Their own culture, that they don't copy and paste what they are doing in Spain. Because first, I don't think it's gonna work, because cultures are different. People from Spain are very different than from Finland, for example. And then when you are copying something, you are not anymore. You are gonna be a second, a copy of that original thing, which is not gonna be very good, I would say.
Yeah.
True. You know, Nacho, this brings us to, I think, the biggest thing that we want to talk about with you today, because that is why I personally follow you on social media, and I'm guessing Ismaeel and Haroon, the same exact thing. How you are, all these different ways that people are practicing and coaching, and you're trying to, I guess, say, okay, this is not the right way. There's not only one way to do things, which is, I love it. And so from your perspective, as players, what are the biggest mistakes we're making in our training routines that you see in general?
In the trainings, when you go to train with a coach, or when you are just playing?
Yeah. In training, practicing. What mistakes do you see, for example, that all the players are making before, not the ones that you coach? Outside, you see, okay, this is not right. Because all the different videos that you post, you're identifying so many mistakes that people make, how they think. So I want to know from you the biggest ones that you feel like, okay, this, and this are the biggest ones that I would tell anyone.
For me, the biggest mistake is that players believe 100% what the coach says.
This, by the way, because I wrote this down, I was going to ask you, so this is an amazing point, because I was going to ask you, should I listen to my coach 100% or should I give them pushback and challenge them? So
I think you're the only coach I've ever heard in my entire life. We played so many sports, and you're the only coach I've ever heard, ever, whether played or not played, whether in other sports, that has said anything remotely close to something like that. Question me. Never.
I really, but I really believe so. You know that. I mean, I know it's very difficult. You are very new in something, and you go to get some coaching. And of course, you cannot be questioning everything, because, I mean, you have to believe something, because you have to start from some point. But usually,
exactly.
What I would, if I were a player, that now I started to play Padel. Of course, I have all this knowledge now, but let's say what I would recommend myself, like 20 years ago, it would be, okay, listen what he says. First, listen, really listen, because people don't listen. People hear, but they don't listen.
Yeah.
Try again and again and again. See if it works. And if it doesn't work, and it's very clear that it doesn't work, don't do it anymore. And maybe in a few months, maybe you might try it again. But if it's not working right now, and you have tried and you don't feel it, we are not stupid. Beginners are not stupid. If I tell a beginner to change the grip dramatically, he's gonna try. He's gonna feel so bad, and he tries again. I still feel so bad. It's not your fault. The beginner is not your fault. It's your coach is trying to ask you something that you are not ready for it, or actually it's not gonna even help you. And then mistakes that they make. Let's say now, if we go already to the game, for me there are a couple of things. The first one is that it's very difficult to play as a team. It's very difficult that you start understanding Padel from the beginning as a team. Because in Padel, actually, you could just play alone, because you don't have to pass the ball to your partner to put it in the other side. So you just can play by your own. So it's very hard for people to understand Padel and play as a team. We have some fun videos about this in my academy account. The players who come from a tournament, and you say, how it went? My partner, very bad.
This is one of the classic things. Like, players always blame their partner all the time. It's a team sport, and they always blame their partner.
And
Very few players take accountability.
And people are stupid, man, because imagine that you tell me that. So I talk with my friend, and my friend say, hey, Manolo, very bad. He doesn't understand that I will talk to Manolo, and I will say, he said that you were very bad.
Yeah.
So at the end, these people who tend to blame their partners, they are very well known in the communities, and people don't like to play with you because they know you're gonna.
Yeah.
So that's one thing, and the other thing, look, that I'm not talking about shot or whatever. The other thing is this. I see this in Finland. You see players who are starting to play, and you go to play to see them outside, and there is a lot of fun. They are smiling, running, jumping. Wow, the best time of the week. In the moment those players start to compete, seriousness, angerness, frustration. So people take paddle too seriously, in my opinion, at recreational level, and that's what I see here is an error because they stop enjoying. They start to think in rankings, and I should get to this level, and it's a drama. I mean, you go to watch a tournament here, and you are outside, and I mean, I'm feeling bad. These guys are not enjoying at all. This is so stressful.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Awesome.
We had the same thing. At least I speak for myself. The first tournament we played, we felt like, yeah, this is the most important tournament of our lives. And we had an amateur ranking just in a very local, small club. Oh, I need to get up my ranking. For what?
Well, in Finland, here in the city I live, there was one tournament that they were giving nice prize. They were giving actually cash money. And then there was nobody, very few players did sign up to the tournament. So I asked one of the players, okay, why are you not playing? No, this is not from the federation. They don't give points. And we are talking about a third category player, we are not talking about, like semi-pro players. So it's, I think that's a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you because I would say last year I was trying to, I'm going to focus and I want to practice, and I had a partner and we're practicing together with the same coach and I would go to every tournament so stressed because I'm practicing, therefore I need to have results. And the results kept getting worse and worse and worse. And my conclusion in the end was, like, at the end of the day, I'm playing to have fun. And if I'm going to these tournaments and I'm not having fun, I'm not winning either. Like, it's not like I'm stressed and winning. I'm stressed and losing and having worse results. So the conclusion is, you go, have fun. And I think that's probably a success I think that's the recipe to success. You practice, then when you go to the tournaments, you want to have fun. And when you have fun, you're probably going to play your best paddle. And if you lose, it's okay. But stress is not the way to go. That was my conclusion last year also.
But I mean, you're going to get nice clips from this, because I'm going to tell you one thing. When you go to play for the first time, I agree with you. You went to have fun. Okay. But then in the moment you start going to competition and like people say, no, I go to compete because I want to have fun. That's bullshit. You don't go to competition to have fun. And most of the people who say, no, I play to have fun.
Yeah.
I see them playing and I tell you, if he really plays to have fun, there are things that people don't know. There are reasons that people don't know why they play.
Yeah.
There are deep things that the people don't know. That they have to do with the ego, with the identity as an athlete, with even I want to get out from home because I cannot get on with my wife. So there are deep things there that people don't know, and they tell you, no, I play to have fun. You play to have fun the first month. Not if you have keep on, that's not true.
That's a good point.
You don't go play a tournament 3 hours away to have
Hey, nice that you said that. The other day I was talking with one friend. There were some people traveling from Helsinki to Oulu, which is in the north of Finland, traveling by car around 7 hours to play one match.
Wow.
Some of them played one match, and they tell me that no, we love paddle. So I said, I mean, you wouldn't go to visit your parents for 2 hours, 7 hours, and then go back. There is something else. Like, it's not to have fun. There is something else.
Could you
The
be
conclusion is
yeah.
anyone that plays paddle, they probably have other issues they need to solve.
100%. I believe so.
We're probably we need to investigate the black hole of paddle, the dark side of paddle. So funny.
Yeah. Well, Nacho, you've had experience seeing lots of different players at the higher levels and lower levels. And what do the pros do in training that everyone should copy? Because there are things that you shouldn't copy, but what should we copy?
Difficult one. So from the pros, the way they train, that we should copy. Gosh, that's a difficult one. Actually, this is a bit unpopular, but I think in trainings in professional, I've been in one of the best academies. I'm not gonna say the name. One of the best academies in Madrid, and I have seen. Actually, I'm gonna say the name because I think we have to give credit to that. So, Academy M3 Madrid is led.
Where Galan trains?
Is where Galan trains, and is led by Jorge Martinez, which is probably the coach with most experience in the circuit. So this guy, long time ago, so 15 years ago or something like that, was the first one that realized that padel is a team sport, and he said, if this is a team sport, why professionals are training individually? So at that time, all professionals were training basically 1-against-1 with the coach, and then some matches with other people in the afternoons or in the evening. So Jorge Martinez in the Academy M3 was the first one who said, okay, if this is a team sport, we should train as a team. So he created this system in which he would have 2-3 courts, then 8-12 players, and they were playing against each other, of course, with different conditions and all that. And now all the academies, professional academies, have copied this system. They are all doing the same things. So I think that is a thing that beginners could copy. And this is a controversial topic because when a beginner goes to train, he's paying, and there is this culture that the coach should give me feedback. The coach should tell me what to do. He needs to tell me how to do the things and all this stuff. But actually what beginners don't know is that if the coach is able to create a good scenario for you, and that can be, for example, having 2 courts with same level players than you, but with different characteristics, or a bit better level players than you, or even worse players than you, and create a nice scenario, actually the coach doesn't have to tell you too much. Of course, he has to intervene sometimes, but you are going to learn much more being in a good scenario, as Jorge Martinez realized. But this is very unpopular because I have tried here, and I know that people still, they want you to be there. They want you to be telling them what to do. They want you to have attention. And I understand because we are social species, so we need this kind of closeness, stuff like that. But players would learn much more just by putting them in a rich environment, rich scenario. Things to avoid. And just I let you from professionals. Don't take it that seriously. I mean, professionals are professional, so that's because they are making money for that. They are living for that. So don't take it that seriously. Don't try to stick to the methods and the way they train because you don't need it.
What do you mean by scenario, Coach Nacho? When you say that, when you put you in the good scenario, what do you mean by that?
Maybe it's a better word, environment.
Okay.
Environment.
Not specific situations, you mean like where, 2 at the back, 2 at the net, here's a short ball, go, for example. That's not what you mean.
Yeah, that's a good environment to learn whatever.
Okay.
So, and that's probably one of the most difficult things as a coach, which is, so how you create the proper environment with different conditions, that actually, and this is the controversial thing, that actually the coach doesn't need to intervene too much. When the coach needs to intervene too much, no, that was not like that. No, you can do this, but not that. No, the rule said that blah, 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 blah. Then that environment is not well designed for the players that you have. For example, when I go to Spain, in Spain before, like 10 years ago, all the trainings were about feeding ball with the basket, and you are doing one movement again and again and again and again. Okay, this is still seen in many places, even in Spain. Little by little, the training are evolving more to game-based training. So meaning that you are playing more, you are not doing all the time the same repetition. But still, for me, most of the coaches don't know how to use the conditions. I put you an example. For example, if I go to a training in Spain, which I do a lot because I want to see what they are doing and, of course, learn from them, usually many conditions are, okay, the coach says, okay, the two guys in the net, two in the back. The first ball, you make an overhead down the line, and from there, free point. Okay, so, I mean, that's not very... What is the goal of this? So, or another thing is that the conditions are extremely complicated. For example, if you put the ball under the level of the net and you are able to counterattack and you win the point with a volley, you get 2 points. But if you don't enter and the ball goes to the backhand volley of the guy and blah, 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 no, you lose the point. And then you are playing and you are saying, I mean, it's impossible for me to play because I'm thinking too much on the rules and condition and stuff like that. So that's creating a good environment.
How much, on this question, since you brought up, how much do you recommend a player to train alone and with a partner now, given what you're just talking about?
For that's difficult. Okay, there is not black and white, but I would say in general, if you are training only one time, I mean with a coach, then you are playing by your own. You play enough by your own, then of course it's good to train by your own, just by your own. If you are playing with other people later, okay? But in general, I think the training should be in pairs because you are playing as a team. You are not playing alone. That's because you don't see in football people training alone. You don't see in hockey people training alone. Of course, sometimes if they want to train something specific, but most of the time, the trainings are in groups. In fact, the other day I heard that the goalkeepers in football, they used to train alone. Like traditionally, they have trained alone. And nowadays, they are much more training with the other guys. And that's because now they can pass the ball much better. They are part of the team.
Yeah, which is that's very true. But you know, it goes back to the point you were talking about, Nacho, that everyone always complains about their partner. So if who's my partner? I'm sitting next to this. I'm practicing with this guy, but you feel like everyone is thinking, I need to find a better partner. And no one commits to someone and says like, okay, this is the team and this is my partner and let's improve together. I'll improve on my own and then then I need to find some I feel like it's a circle that in Padel that people go into. Okay, I think I'm better than my partner, but if I practice with, then okay, commit to a partner, and then you reach the point you think he's the reason you lose, and then you go back. Okay, I'll train on my own and improve. I need to find I feel like it's always the issue.
Yeah.
But it's true. You have to you have to commit to a team and train as a team, and I agree with you 100%.
I got one tweet. I put it like long time ago. Let me see if I remember properly. But it was something like this: if people hate to play against you, but they love to play with you, you are in a very good path, a very good way. So most of the good players, you know, people love to play with them. I want this guy making me better. I don't know why. His position, he finds the correct tempo for us. But on the other hand, they hate to play against me. So those are the very good players. So if you find someone who is all the time, I have to change the partner. He's not probably he's not a very good player.
Yeah.
It's more his problem than the partner's problem.
Yeah.
Well, like,
What do you tell? Sorry, Haroon here. What do you tell a player who wants to always practice with higher level players? So this scenario, for example, when you want to put an environment where you have 8 to 12 players, someone who thinks he's too good to practice with lower level players, what do you tell this player?
Super nice question. We have a video in Fins Padel in the other account about this because we face it in the academy. Like those players who say, this group doesn't have high tempo for me. I need more challenge.
Yeah.
Usually 90% of those players who says I need to train with better players, they usually don't manage to play with even worse players than them. Because those players who says that, usually what they need is tempo. So in the moment there is a player who start to play a bit soft, a bit slow, but they're still putting the ball back, they start to struggle a lot and they start to have anxiety. So they need, dynamics. They need things fast. So what I usually say is, if you want me to change to another group, which you think it could be a better group for you, you need to demonstrate me that you can dominate these players of your current group, which you say that are worse than you, but I don't see that you are able to dominate them. So I think it's very good that you play with worse players than you, with similar players than you, and with better players than you. And let me go very quickly why. When you play with worse players than you need to be the one who is proposing. Because they are going to just pass the ball and you have to propose. And if you are not used to propose because you play with similar level players than you, what is happening is that at some point of the match they propose, at some point of the match you propose, but you are not used to propose all the time. That's because they lose.
When you mean propose, you mean like attack, Nacho, or what do you mean?
I mean, yeah, be proactive. Be proactive. Exactly. That's because they lose with worse players than them in competition. Because you have heard this like, we lost with this guy, we should have won. They was worse than us. Why? Because you are not used to play with worse players than you, in which you have to be proactive. And then playing with better players than you, that you are going to be reactive. So you are going to be just surviving. But of course, that makes you improve a lot. Every time you are stressed, if the stress is not too much, so it's enough, then you improve.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Nacho, for that advice, because that player that you were talking to was me. Because I used to make this complaint, I think, or at least internally, even if I didn't say it out loud.
It's very common.
It's one of the traits. What you're saying, I think it's probably one of the traits of all the really good players is I see sometimes videos, Cuello and Tapia, they're practicing. I don't know who's on the court with them, which means they're much lower level players, but they're actually trying to find the purpose within this specific training. So
and actually that you don't need, for example, do you think, if we think in professionals, do you think professional can train always with other professional of their level? No.
Yeah.
But then if the coach is good, they will find, okay, Coelho and Tapia needs to improve the defense in the back. Okay, I'm going to take 2 guys from the local area, which probably are semi-professional or okay professional, who volley amazing. And then I will go to the training and I will create an environment in which they have to defend. But they are not training with better players than them. I mean, they're number 1. How can they train with better players than them?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but also I feel like that creates like that whole point of everybody wants to play with somebody better. It becomes a point where nobody wants to play with anybody lower, and then like silos. It's everybody's segregation, and then you end up in this pool. And you don't know how to exit this pool, and the people in the other pool don't think you're good enough yet. But also the people in your pool, you feel like you're better than them. It's and then it gets to a point where everybody, nobody wants to take a chance, and it's very hard to even get somebody to accept to come play friendly, even because they're feeling like I'm not gonna waste money on you or time on you.
which you have brought to my previous point of those players will tell you I play for fun, but then, but then I don't accept anyone who is a bit worse than me. But then you are not playing for fun. You are playing for something else. You don't even. I feel that some players don't even want. There are 8-10 players of the same level, and it's so hard to enter in that community, in that group. Like somehow people don't accept you if they feel that you are worse than them. And I think first it has to do because, okay, probably it's true. Like with these people, I'm not going to get that challenge. But I think it has to do also with the ego, you know? Okay, I don't want that more players out of my level. You know, I'm in a status here. These guys a bit lower level. So I don't want more people here.
Yeah, I think another point, maybe, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong. I think it has to do another reason could be money as well, because I think padel is an expensive sport. So people, well, when it comes to competition, when it comes to playing just even for fun, it's kind of expensive to even just play for an hour and a half, especially in non-Spanish speaking countries, because it's still very new. Like in Europe, for example, I think the cheapest time you could play for an hour and a half is like 7-8 euros for 1 hour and a half, which is, yeah, you can't play multiple times a week. It's going to be quite costly for you. So
yeah, that's true. But again, if you are playing for fun, you wouldn't mind. I mean, I'm not telling you that you are a first category player and you are playing with a 4th category player. It's not going. It's going to be actually boring probably. But let's say 1 second category with a 3rd category player. Sometimes it's fun. I play with everybody here, 4th category, and I have a lot of fun actually. I have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm not gonna play with them like in a daily basis, but sometimes it's okay.
You know, also, sorry to go on again, guys, about this, but final question. You know, in like group chats and stuff like that, where you have a lot of padel players, then they're like, yeah, we're missing 1 player, but he needs to be at least 4.5. If you're not 4.5, please don't contact me. And Gan is 7, and you want a 4.5 player, then you shouldn't be in this group chat.
Which those rankings, I don't know how are they based, because I get some messages on Instagram. I'm 2.5 player. I honestly don't. Like, I don't understand what if it's from Playtomy or where is this from. We talk here more about 1st category, 2nd category, 3rd category, 4th category, 5th category.
No. Yeah, that's
the levels in Finland. How is it? Like if I want to sign up for tournaments, are they? So you're saying they're 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th?
Yeah,
That's
well they call it A, B, C, D, E.
Okay.
So there is
so there's E.
From A to E.
Okay.
So
because here it was A, B, C, and then they recently added D. And I guess they're gonna have to add E at some point once they.
But then what's F failure?
You can't play. You can't sign up.
F is a failure. Failed player.
Yeah, from A to E here.
Okay, good to know. Nacho, also, so we know the game has been evolving, and as you said, when the game evolves, the training evolves also, and you're saying it's become faster. And how should we evolve our training? Like, how would you evolve your training with the time, with all these different changes in how the sport is played?
Okay, so that question that you said is super good. If we take the coaches of today, which used to be professional 1 generation ago or 2 generations ago. So let's say Gaby Reca, Seba Nerone, these guys, there are others, okay? And then we ask them, okay, how did you train the physical part when you were professional? So let's say when you started 15 years ago. And they will tell you this way, okay, how the players that you train today, they train the physical part. Is it similar? And they will tell you, no, it's another world. This is so different. However, if we ask them, how did you train yourself padel 15 years ago? And how do you train it today? They will probably tell you it's not that different. So that brings me to the topic of most of coaches, including professional, talking about professional, they know a lot about padel, a lot, of course, but they don't know so much about coaching. They don't know so much about pedagogics, about psychology, about sociology, about biology, about coaching. And this is for me a big topic because there is a status quo there in which all the coaches who are in the top are actually former players. And for me, we need more outsiders. We need more people who are coming even from other fields because they are going to bring new ideas, even new ways to play. And this applies also to even amateur players, coaching and training.
Yeah. So do you have any concrete examples, for example, of how to train now for this faster environment? You said more interaction at the net. Do you have any ideas about, all right, what should players be doing?
Well, I think amateur players, they don't need to train like those kind of interaction in the net all the time. And I think we have to let them explore. For example, a big mistake for me is there is coming a player who is going to train for the first time with me. And before seeing what he can do, before letting him explore different things, for example, let's go to a forehand. From the beginning, I tell him, no, a forehand is like this. But the player needs time to explore how to hit it. Okay, I feel this way better, that way, no, this doesn't work. But in the moment I tell you, no, forehand is like this, I'm already putting you in a model that you should follow, and maybe it doesn't work for you. So responding directly to your question, the environment, if you are competing, if you are playing, is gonna bring you where you have to go if you are good players, because you are gonna adapt. You are gonna, okay, this way is not the way we have to play today. We have to play this way because the other way we lose. No? And that's what is happening. If we see the traditional players, for example, Sancho Gutierrez, those players from the previous generation, I mean, they are struggling because they are getting old, so it's a bit more difficult to adapt to the new generation way of playing. And the new ones, you don't see them playing. I mean, you have, for example, Chingoto, that they say, yeah, Chingoto is a defensive player. I mean, Chingoto makes transitions like the best. So he's actually entering those battles and he likes it. And the more you put him to make transition, the better he plays. So they are actually evolving in that way. Okay, of course, I feel they feel better in the back, but that doesn't mean that the guy can enter in those battles and actually probably is one of the best one entering in those battles. So I mean, the sport is gonna bring you wherever you play. It's gonna bring you, and this brings me to a topic in Finland. 2-3 years ago, they said no, but the best Finnish players, they don't play padel because they come from tennis. So they play tennis in a padel court. And I said that might be true if we assume that there is a padel written in the books that you should play it that way. But what these guys are doing is they have adapted to the environment of Finland, which is that nobody was playing padel. They started to play, and they were playing in a way, and they were winning everybody. Even though there were some padel players by book, they were kicking their ass, playing tennis in the padel court. What is happening now? That after 4 years, they have started to go to Spain. Some Spanish are coming here to play tournament with them. Surprisingly, they are changing the style because they don't win Spaniards anymore or Argentinians. And they have thought, okay, if we want to win these guys, we have to play a different way. So they are adapting their style to the conditions that they have. Which the last thing, and I stop talking, which actually
Don't stop, no.
This is knowing, or at least understanding biology, because this is evolution, this is adapting to the environment. And if you as a coach don't understand those things, I mean, how are you going to coach? A coach who doesn't understand those things, they're going to tell you, 3 years ago here in Finland, you must play padel. This way that you are playing doesn't work. The player, if he's smart enough, he will tell you, why should I learn to play a different way in the environment I am? I'm adapting well because I'm winning.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask though, like, how can, since we're adapting this philosophy of like the Spanish paddle philosophy, it's like, how are we going to get better than them by doing the way that they created? It's just like German cars, for example. We decide to do German car, like create the same exact German car. How are we going to make BMWs better than BMWs make BMWs? Like, it's kind of like a weird cycle. I feel like there are always going to be tiers, and people that are non-Spanish speaking are forever going to be lagging behind because you're lagging, you're chasing that philosophy.
Absolutely.
That makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense. The way you would beat them, it would be, let's imagine I'm finished. And then I go to play with Spanish and they win me. Okay, then I have to find a way to win them, but probably it's not going to be by copying what they are doing. Because they are going to win me that way, probably. At least at the beginning. So I have to find another way to play.
Yeah.
That by the way, the last thing is that if we see the best ones, so we see Coelho, Tapia, Lebron, Galan, they don't have this kind of a standard way of that we teach padel. They play very for a coach. A coach would get very nervous with them. What are you doing? You are going there. No! Don't do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I remember I saw a video. I don't remember who it was, but it was, I think maybe it was Gustavo Prato. I don't remember exactly.
Gustavo Prato is the coach of Coelho.
Yeah, Coelho. No, who is the coach of Tapia? Pablo. His name's Pablo.
Yeah, Pablo. I don't remember his short name. I don't think he's coaching anymore, but he's the one who has been coaching him since he was a kid.
Yeah, he was coaching him, and he said in an interview like a lob was all the way on Coelho's side behind the service line, and he decided to hit the smash, and he hit the smash, and it came back 3 meters. No, point was over, and then he's saying if anyone else in the world, I would tell them that's the wrong shot, but then I tell him, Tapia, Agustin, you're not supposed to hit the smash from there. But he says, but I did. So sometimes there are things you can't teach.
Most of the things I don't think that you can teach. The difficult ones, okay? The best players, they don't know what to do. So if you ask Tapia to coach, so if Tapia would have to coach, he has no idea, honestly, because he doesn't know what he does in the court. I'm sure he doesn't know. If he would have to explain you, okay, Tapia, how did you do that? He doesn't know. He doesn't know. I mean, those players, they play very unconscious, like they play with the subconscious, but coaches, emphasize a lot in the trainings to play consciously. And when you play consciously, meaning that you are thinking a lot, I have to do this and that, you probably have experience, you play really bad.
Yeah, true. Nacho, another thing I was interested in, because, if you're I would say not most, but lots of people practice paddle, whether it's amateur, whether it's semi-pro, whether it's pro, and we all reach that point where we don't feel like we're improving much as players. And even though I'm practicing, even though I'm putting in the work and I'm matches, and how do you suggest you approach that issue of you're practicing and you think you should be improving, but you feel like you're not? What would you tell someone like that if they have an issue?
Same topic than before about biology adaptation. If you are playing to have fun, go to have fun and, play with similar players, similar court, similar side that you usually play. Since that you feel comfy, then you probably are going to have fun. But if you want to learn, there has to be stressors. There has to be stressors, and that's the way we learn as human beings and the way we evolve. So a stressor could be, I feel better in the left side of the court. Okay, go to play to the right side sometime. I don't like to play with this partner. Okay, play with him. He probably will make you better because you will have to find new ways to play. I like to play in this club because it's amazing core, amazing facilities, and blah blah blah. Go to play to the club that you don't like. I'm talking about learning. Okay, if you want to learn, I love to smash. Okay, don't smash in this match. Just play right side, Víboras or whatever they call it. So you have to stress yourself. You have to find the doses of stress is not too much, because then of course you don't want to suffer. You're an amateur, but you have to stress yourself a little bit. With those things, they are simple things, but the reality is that most of the players, they don't want to go through that.
Yeah.
They just want to, as you said, I want to have fun. I put me the balls I like, the partner I like, in the court that I like, and in the side that I like. How is possible that 1 year experienced player, he already identify as a left or right player? You are 1 year experienced. They start.
Nacho, it makes no sense. It happens here too. I'm a left side player. How can you say you're a left side?
It's amazing. That's because you started playing there, then you feel natural there, and then if you go to the other side, you feel so bad, and then you say, I don't want to play here. I'm left side player. No, what you don't want is to learn.
Fantastic.
I have two questions, but first one, building off your point. So I'm left-handed, and Haroon, by the way, he's also left-handed. And I always try to go play on the left side, and they said, no, you're left-handed. You only play on the right side.
Bullshit.
Should I? Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Do it. Keep on.
Yes.
Keep on. You are going to learn maybe a bit slower because you are not specializing from the beginning.
Yeah.
But you are going to be a much better player if you play in both sides, because you are going to get the ball from different angles. Your profile is very different. And you are going to hit much more with the backhand at the net. So your backhand ball is going to develop more.
Yes.
It has a lot of benefits. In our academy, nobody is set in a side forever. It's like, okay, now you train here, now there. Even with left-handed, we ask them to go to the left side.
That's awesome.
Amazing.
You know, it's also from my experience. Also, sometimes I would insist I want to practice on the left, and what I was able to understand also is how the right side player, the right-handed, plays on the right side, because I don't know that experience. I'm on the right side all the time, but I'm playing left-handed, and then I don't know. But when I go and I play on the left side, I understand what it's like for the right-handed player on the right side. And then I can understand how they play.
By the way, that this is very good topic for professionals, because I've been thinking, for me, coaches and players should be a little bit more brave for example, in the way they train, in the way they try things. For example, why in professional they never change the side? It's very weird that they change the side.
Yeah.
So let's go to an extreme: Galan and Chingoto. So Galan is much more powerful with aerial game. He's going to make a lot of points. Okay? But just the fact that sometimes you change and you put Galan in the left side when the match maybe is not going well, it's going to create uncertainty to the other players. First, because you're going to start thinking. As an opponent, you're going to start thinking. And as we have said before, thinking on the court is not good. During the game. So fact now is Chingoto in the left. How should I play? So uncertainty for the rivals is always good for you. Then you are going to add variability to the game, which is also good for you. And hey, let's not forget, Chingoto got to a final in the Masters playing in the left side.
On the left.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
with
Dineno.
It was amazing.
So I think professional players should sometimes be more brave, or at least the coaches. Also, Cristian Gutierrez and Matias Diaz, who are now coaching, they used to be the best players in the previous generation. Both were right side players, and at some point they decided to play together. Cristian Gutierrez started to play in the left side, But in the services, when they serve, they change the sides. They won many tournaments. Christian Gutierrez being overweight 8-10 kilograms at that point, and they won many tournaments with that guy playing in the left side and changing the sides. Until, of course, at some point, people started to understand how we should play to this guy. But it took many tournaments that professional players understand, okay, how we should play, because you create uncertainty.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
That's very interesting. Also, it reminds me, some of the best players today started also playing on the other side. Tapia was playing on the right for a while before he moved to the left. Galan was also playing on the right before, now he moved to the left. Even when he started playing with Juan Lebron, there were tournaments where he would play on the right, or he would play the serve and he'd move to the right. And so they were alternating. It wasn't like Galan was always on the left, nor was Tapia always on the left either. And so maybe this also speaks to their evolution as players, because they both know how to play on both sides.
100%.
And they're probably the two most complete players on the tour.
Tapia, there is the final of under 18 years old, the World Championship. Tapia is playing against Javi Garrido. There is a video on YouTube, and Tapia is playing in the right side.
Yeah. He was playing on the right.
And LeBron
with Bella, he was playing on the right.
On the right side, yes. And LeBron has played a part of his junior career. I don't know how to call it. He has played in the right side a lot. And another thing that these guys have, that I was thinking before also, is Galan. I don't know about Tapia, but Galan and LeBron, when they were junior, they made hell of mistakes. Lot of mistakes. They were not consistent. And for me, that's a benefit, because when you are young, if you are too consistent, that means that you are not trying too many things. It might be working, but you are not trying too many things. Galan was what we call a Tivoli gun. A Tivoli gun is a guy who goes to those Tivoli places where you can shoot with this guy and you never know where the bullet goes. So it was a Tivoli gun, and LeBron was quite inconsistent. But they have tried so many things that now look what happens.
Look what happens. We're number ones for 3 years.
You have no idea what they are going to do.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Before I move on, I wanted to ask also which is similar to a point you made in the beginning of our conversation. Juniors, you said they don't listen and they don't want to play the conventional paddle. Because I have an example. I went once, I had a match, and before my match, I went a bit earlier, and it was a juniors tournament going on. And I'm watching all the young players play. And it feels like they learn so much from watching TikTok. And they're only trying to do what they see on TikTok. I'm seeing so many side glass shots from under 14-year-olds, and someone hits a smash, trying to hit smash, 14 years old, trying to hit smash from behind the line, and then if a smash is hit, he tries to hit the Dormelina instead of just placing it, for example. So how do you balance that? You talked about balance. How do you balance, okay, not listening, but also, okay, you have to play paddle the right way at the same time?
It's very difficult. Actually, to be honest, I don't have so much experience with junior. I have coached here some juniors. One of them is quite okay, very talented. So for me, it was like, you have to know which kind of player you have. So for me, the guy had a lot of good skills to do a lot of things. So he was trying a lot in the training. He was very inconsistent. I got very nervous many times, but I let him explore. I didn't tell him too many times, like, Mr., put the ball in. Just sometimes if the other players were annoyed, because sometimes it can be annoying. You are training and the other guy is not able to put the ball in. So sometimes I have to call it out. But most of the time, I let him explore. If you don't let them explore when they are young, when are they going to try?
Yeah, true. Yeah.
And remember, I don't know how you learn in the school, but for me in the school, little by little, they are starting to shape your mindset to, everything organized, everything secure, don't get out of this structure. And then what we have are mechanical people and mechanical players who are just doing the same things and they don't want to get out of that path. So, I mean, it's boring. When I go to training, I want that the players, sometimes they surprise me. If not, this is too boring, you know, like having a player who's doing everything A, B, and C.
Yeah. Fantastic. Well, talking about, let's say at the moment I am a competitive player and I'm practicing and I'm training and I'm going to tournaments. What do you think the best way is to evaluate if I've improved my level? Is it only results, or are there other ways for me to identify how I'm improving?
That's very difficult, because if you are training in a weekly basis, at the beginning, the learning curve is like this. It's amazing, like you feel every day you are learning. But then as you get better and better, then it's much more difficult to see. And that's for me, because it's important with certain players that they are obsessed with learning, so that they tend to think too much. Okay, I'm stuck and blah blah blah. Is to just talk with them for a while and say, hey, 1 year ago, with whom you were playing, with this and this. Okay, did you survive, or you were actually I was surviving? Okay, but this now you're playing with these guys and same level, or even you are better. So players tend to forget very quickly. So if they look back, they would realize, okay, actually I have evolved a lot. But they tend to forget that very quickly, and they start to comparing with players who are already still better than them, but they don't look of the players who were worse than them, or they had a lower level than them.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Good point.
Then I want to touch on a point. Nacho talked about how we should adapt the training to the culture. And so you're adapting your coaching to the Finnish culture, which is definitely different than the Spanish culture. Can you talk a little bit about that? How are you adapting your training to the Finnish culture, which is different than the Spanish?
Guys, you have super good questions. Really, I mean, like, it's one of the best interviews I have made, because the questions are so nice, and actually are the questions that I like, because I can go a little bit deeper.
Nice. Thank you. We're glad you're enjoying. We're also learning a lot.
We're learning from you.
Keep this coming.
Thank you for the insights.
Imagine Nacho Porto, 2021, coming from the south of Spain, which is everything is, very social. People are, very enthusiastic, and everything is a party. Okay, I come to Finland, which is the opposite, exactly the opposite. And I go to the first training, and Nacho start to talk with the students. Nobody's looking at you. People are looking like to the floor, looking to some other side, serious face. And then you start thinking, okay, are these guys listening me? They disagree. Actually, they would like to be here. So, I mean, it's such a big change. Again, I have a tweet there, which is, because now there are many Spanish all around the world. And I have a tweet that I wrote something like, if you are in another country coaching, and the first thing that you haven't paid attention to is how the culture of that country is, you have no idea about coaching. Because the first thing you have to understand is people. And people are shaped by culture. So for me, it was the most difficult thing from here. It was adapting, because I'm the one here, adapting to the Finnish culture. So go to a training that people don't look at you. That people are very reactive, like they would never propose you, they would never tell you, I want to train this and that. The trainings are a bit serious. It was difficult, but then you adapt, you understand, then you of course you try to influence them a little bit more with your culture. Okay, have you tried this way? Maybe it's beneficial. It's very hard one. However, I have to say, because if not, they're gonna get very angry, that of course they have so many good things that I would like the Spanish culture to have. The guys are super committed. this kind of organized life, it helps them a lot to develop because they commit to a weekly training, they don't miss it, and then they are really nice. When they get close to you and they feel, okay, this guy is my friend, it's true that you will have a friend for forever.
That's awesome. What about the style of the players? So maybe because of this outgoing style, our Spanish players may be more aggressive, more, proactive. Is there something about the style of players also generally maybe that you are seeing in the Finnish? Maybe they're different or special in one area than another. Is there something also to read into there? Because you're talking about how the style of countries can also reflect the culture.
100%. I mean, and it's obvious. Do you think in a culture where everything is very organized, it's set by rules, there is very big structure in every domain, so your mindset start to be in that way. It's obvious. So then when you go to the paddle court, it's very difficult that the players become, or that in general players are very creative, that they go with the flow, that they adapt very quickly. They are gonna be more by rules, okay? In fact, there was one Finnish coach when I came in 2021, and I was like training coaches. And then one coach, still remember this, he told me he was learning. So he was Finnish coach learning to coach paddle. And he told me, I was telling, okay, it depends. The players are different. No. Hey, you have to remember this. Finnish are like engineers. So they want to know step 1, step 2, and step 3. And that's actually because it's more or less the way the culture is here, is very structured. So there is a difference. And Spanish, Spanish can go to play a match, an amateur player, end up the cigarette 1 minute before the match. Then enter the guy. No, I don't need to warm up. I just warm up in the car. Doing a little bit, and then play, go with the flow, and that's it. And then finish. They would come at least 10 minutes before. They make their warm up. I'm telling amateur players, 4 category players. The warm up, the music. Let's go. So it's totally different world.
That's good. And then you're an engineer as well. So then you have a bit of both. You have the Spanish culture and you're an engineer. So maybe that helps.
Yeah.
But that's super interesting topic. Like, we are not aware. I'm sure, I don't know if you like to go deep, but I like to go deep. So we usually are not aware how our culture has conditioned the way we think, the way we do things, the habits that we have. It's very interesting because I'm, as an Spanish living in Finland, I have the opposites, opposite things. So I can realize here, okay, why we do things in Spain this way. Are these guys doing it here wrong? And it's just the culture, I don't think there is a right or wrong way.
This is so fascinating. It's so fascinating.
Yeah, I'm just saying that, there's no limit to the depth. If you want to go as deep as you can, we love depth because depth is richer and it's actually more interesting. We would all agree. So
it's interesting you bring this point up, Nacho, because, like, for example, we live in Egypt, as we told you right now. So I don't know if it's close to the Spanish culture, but like rules, they're there.
Egypt is very chaotic. It's lot of chaos, lot of going with the flow. Yes. Similar, I think, to the Spanish culture.
Adapting to different situations. I would say like an example that signifies, like, I was with Haroon in Belgium recently. And it's a small street, it's a side street. There are no cars, but there's a stop sign. And okay, it says do not cross the street. It's exactly maybe 5 steps. There are no cars. Do I wait or do I not wait? And then I don't think I have to wait. There are no cars. I can pass in exactly 1 second. And then I think it adapts to a way of how I'm going to approach, if we take paddle in this instance. Okay, there's this way to do it. As you said, there's only one way. But I feel like I don't have to. I can do this too. I can do that. And I think it's an advantage maybe in other instances it's not an advantage, and going outside of the box too much is a mistake. But at the same time, going outside the box, as you said, unpredictability is an asset that you can have. And I guess from our cultures ingrained within us, we have that in a way where I adapt to situations and I'm not going to do what the book says.
100%. And again, this is a good coach. For example, if you understand the culture of Finland and you know that people are going to tend to be very structured, very organized, not so much unpredictable, a good coach would say, okay, guys, for me, you have to be much more creative. Let's find ways to be more creative. However, a coach in Spain, which have kids who are too much chaos, maybe he would have to find the balance and say, okay, guys, there is too much unpredictability here that even you are getting confused. So maybe he would have to create a different scenario. But actually, that story you told me, I have lived here in Spain, in Finland. Like being on a street and seeing Finns, waiting the traffic light, no cars, maybe one in the noon, no cars, and they were just waiting. I was amazed, like, okay, but why don't you cross?
Yeah, this is so fascinating. This is so fascinating. We're gonna need to have another whole separate conversation about how the culture interacts with Padel. This is such an interesting topic.
I want to go back and, like, for example, go to World Cup footage and watch every country and see how they play and how it like matches up with how the culture of that specific country is.
100%.
Yeah,
I think
but
Argentina won that World Cup.
Yeah.
Sorry, but look that now all the teams at national level, they are playing very similar way. So if you watch a World Cup, it has become like too tactical, too much structure and by the rules, that then you see Brazil and you see Senegal, and I mean, if you change their t-shirts, you don't know who is who because they are so similar way of playing. I think this is a problem of the globalization, that now people are traveling, for example, what we said before, to Spain, and they're trying to learn how they do, and they are copying and pasting, and they are losing the identity. It was one player from Germany who was, I don't remember, but he was one of the players who lost against Spain in football in 2008, the European World Championship. Do you remember the Euro Cup? And then afterwards, a few years after that, in an interview, he said the worst thing that has happened to German football, it was that Pep Guardiola came to coach in Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
Because we have lost our identity. We have started to play the Spanish way. And the identity of a German guy is more like, a tough guy, competitive, go hard. Of course, play good football, but they lost somehow their identity.
Yeah,
that's so interesting.
Yeah, I was gonna mention the football thing as well, especially Guardiola. Like now, everybody plays like Guardiola. Everybody's trying to replicate Guardiola's system, and the identity is lost.
Yeah,
it's I think Nacho, this point of letting players explore, it needs to be said more and more. Like we're as you said about in school how we're put in a box, and I think this is an amazing thing that this is the approach that you're taking, is you should allow all players to explore, because at the end of the day, because while you're speaking, I'm thinking of myself, and in specific scenarios, for example, I'm in training, and I feel like sometimes I'm doing something, I feel like, but that's not me, like that's not something I would do. And should you change that? Like, of course, as you said, there has to be balance. But should you change it completely to that they become a new type of player? I don't think so. So your point makes complete sense for me.
Yeah, I think I think we don't give in the trainings. We don't give enough room to players to explore. We are telling from the beginning, this is the way to do it. Do it this way. Actually, it's not easy because we come from when we are in the school. We come more. We don't come from exploring. We come more from the teacher is telling you, do this, do
Yes.
that. So when I say
Yeah.
to a 30 years old player, okay, which I do. Today we are going to explore, for example, a few weeks ago, we've been training here. Today we are going to explore what happens is if actually you get really relaxed while playing, like really loose, even a bit lazy.
Yeah.
So, and that's actually a benefit of I have here in Finland, because if I say that in Spain, they will say, let's train normal. So here they are willing to do things because they follow what the authority says, which is good actually for the coach if you approach it well. So the guys were, try, and I'm sure many of them realize nice things. Oh, now my overhead, the ball goes so fast and I feel like not doing much power. It just goes very well. Some of this is too loose, but actually now I found the balance. And before I got very tense, the ball didn't run, but now I'm more loose and the ball goes really nice. So, and then there is another topic, which is coaches are asking players to be brave. Sometimes, no, but why don't you try that? And what about this and that? But then the coaches are not brave. They are making the same trainings, like very conservative trainings, avoid mistakes. And I think coaches should be also brave and let the players explore much
I
more.
love that. Love that.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I mean, I think we have so much left to explore there, but maybe Nacho, let's get your thoughts a little bit on the style of play on tour, because I know you have some strong opinions about that too. So maybe just educate us first. What are the different styles we're seeing on the men's tour today?
I think in general, there are some players that naturally they have the ability to build the points, to play more defensive and counter-attacking. And then there are other players that naturally they are more attackers. They want to punish. They want to win the points as fast as possible. I made one example with football. Okay, in football, we have defensive players, then midfielders, and then strikers. So actually, if you come from a sport like football, it's very likely that, let's say, if you were midfielder in padel, you are probably a builder. You like to build the point, but maybe you don't have such a attacking shots. However, if you were a striker, it might be that you like to, go more, attack, try to win the points easily. So let's, for example, we have Galan, which is attacker. He direct. He probably would like to play in football as a striker or close to the goal. And then Chingoto likes to build more the point, to defend. Probably he would be more midfielder or something like that. So I think those are the kind of two, making it very simple, okay? Because of course there are a lot of nuances. For example, there is this thing that for me is bullshit, is that the back of the court is the defensive area.
Yeah.
For me, there are three phases of the game, making it very simple: defending, building, and attacking. So from the back of the court, we see more and more that professional players are actually attacking. In fact, where are happening most of the smashes from Tapia, Augsburger, they happen very close to the back wall.
Yes.
But they are also entering after a bajada, they enter. They are attacking a lot from the back. But also, I will go even a bit farther. Do you think that Chingoto, when he's in the back, most of the times that they are pushing him, I don't think that he feels he's defending. He's really enjoying.
No. Yeah.
But Galan, probably he feels he's defending because it's not naturally for him to be that much. That's because he entered. And Coelho, the same. So it's not that black and white. This is defensive. This is building. So for example, they say again, Chingoto is a defensive player. A defensive player, but why? You know, like because he's in the back better than in the net. Yeah, but in the back he's not defending actually. Because if he were defending, he would be losing a lot of points, and I don't feel they make a lot of points with him.
Yeah,
that's so interesting. That's so interesting.
It's so true because sometimes lots of times I'm standing at the net. I do not feel like I am attacking. I feel like I'm a goalkeeper trying to guess where they're gonna go with the ball. And even though I'm at the net, I'm supposedly the one attacking.
You were goalkeeper in football?
No, I feel like
okay.
when I'm at the net, I feel like I'm a goalkeeper sometimes because I'm at the net. Even though they're all the way in the back, but I'm at the net, I feel like I'm the one defending.
There is an interesting thing, which is from low level to intermediate level.
Yeah.
If we put players in the back and players in the net, and the players in the back, we tell them not to go to the net unless they are forced to go. But we say, you keep here. Even though you pass them, stay here. From low to intermediate player, most of the matches would be won, because I have proved it, most of the matches would be won by the guys in the back. However, this changed dramatically. This changed dramatically at high level. At high level, it changed dramatically. But because playing in the back, that's my point. You can be in the back and you are not defending. You can be building the point or even attacking, and the other guys are running like chicken because you are making good lobs, low, passing them, and you are just there in our home, what we call it our home, in the corner, just waiting.
It's funny because me and Yousef at Ismaeel, when we played our tournaments in the beginning, they would like make some jokes about me for me saying, let's just stay back. When we just started, let's stay back. It's so much easier in the back.
Yes.
Like, no, we have to go to the front. We have to take the net. We have to finish the ball to that. No, let's stay back. It's so nice. And
but we were losing, brother. We were losing when we were at the back, so we had to go.
Were we though? Were we? We have to go.
I promise you, we were losing. We were down 5-0 before we decided to go to the.
But Nacho, when okay, so there's the attacking player, a defensive player, more midfielder.
Attacking
building.
from the back, attacking from, I guess.
Yeah, or more the aggressive player and the building player.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But then they come together, and most pairs now, maybe they're this combo. So, like, tell us what's the difference between the Koyo Tapia combo and the Galan Chingoto combo and the LeBron Stupa combo? Or are they all the same? Like, when the fusion of these two versions of players, when they come together, something new comes out, which is a unique style? Or are you saying that all the top 4 or 5 teams, they're all playing the same style?
No, it's different style. For me, it's different style. Let's analyze them. For example, Coelho and Tapia.
Yeah.
That's a very interesting one, because for me, Tapia is playing a little bit more like the traditional right side player. So he's staying more in the back, and then Coelho is entering. So there are many times with this kind of stair position.
Yeah.
But then the guy has all the shot to win the points. So that's because for me, he's the best, because he can build the point. He has improved a lot defending in the back, but then the guy goes to the net and is a killer. Okay. Then we have Chingoto and Galan. Galan is the pure right side, classical, that build the points, is very good in the back. And then Galan is more the attacker. Okay, so that probably is the typical partnership that we have the generation ago. It was very much like that. But then what happens with Chingoto? That Chingoto makes the transition, probably one of the best who makes the transition. So I don't know if you have seen, there has been some conversation when they are in the bench. I think it was against Stupa and Dineno last year. And then Stupa said to Dineno, man, don't play more to Chingoto lobs and low, because the guy can be 1 hour doing overhead volley. Play the lobs to Galan. Play the lobs to Galan. He's saying that this is recorded. So that ability that he has to move forward, move backward, move forward, move backward, and still be super good at the net with in the fast interaction, this is evolution. I don't think the previous player have this. Besides Sancho, for example, but Sancho like it to stay more in the back. But for example, Christian Gutierrez and Reca, they wait you more in the back, and they would enter, but they would enter slower. Like Chingoto can enter really fast. And then we have now LeBron and Stupa. That probably Stupa is a little bit more right side player.
Yeah.
So he likes to stay. Of course, he's very good entering, but actually LeBron, he likes to create boom, 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 and then I enter one step, I volley. I remember training with LeBron. LeBron actually is from my hometown, from the south of Spain.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And training with him in Madrid, in the Academy M3, with Mariano Amat, who was the coach of Galan and LeBron when they were number one, not anymore.
Yeah.
And I remember I was training with him, and then remember very well that the coach told me, when you are in the back, why do you enter if you are really good in the back? I told the same thing to LeBron. And I mean, it was a good point, but actually good that LeBron keep on doing that. Because he makes him really dangerous. Like he's entering all the time. He put you the ball low and he enters, he volleys from the back. So, I mean, I have gone a little bit to the side, but basically for me,
No, you're good.
the pairs are different, and I don't think that there is a standard like before. Before it was very clear. Right side player, defensive, build the point, and left side player, attack. And again, for me, this has been harmful, this way of thinking, because we have had the culture of left side, attacker, right side, defender. Then people start to set their mindset. I'm right side. I shouldn't attack. I should build. Until it came this new generation that they don't give a shit, and then they say, I play in the right side. And for example, Yanguas also attacks a lot. He plays in the right side. He's super tall, attacks a lot. LeBron attacks a lot. So it's evolving, and I think it's good that there is not such a standard way of playing and positioning, and right side, left side is this way of play, that way of play.
What about Yangas and Nieto, Coach Nacho? What do you make of that very unique team?
That's an interesting one, because Koki is obviously the typical right side player.
Exactly.
And that's because actually, if you see his history as a player, he has played most of the time with which kind of player? Right side or left, right-handed or left-handed?
Yeah, well, he was playing with John Symes, so I guess who's left-handed.
Left-handed, all his junior career with left-handed, because he was playing in the left side, but he was more as a kind of right side player.
Yeah, more of a building player.
More a building player. He doesn't make any mistake. It's amazing. Like, he's super consistent. He has him.
But so is Yanguas, no?
And Yanguas, but Yanguas is more aggressive.
Yeah. Well, but Yanguas hasn't been aggressive. Have you been watching much lately, or not much? Too busy.
I have watched the last one in Santiago. I watched the semifinal.
Yeah.
And then the previous tournament, they also reached the semifinal, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they won. They make semifinals of every tournament. They are very tough. They're both building players. It's very hard to win a point against them.
Yeah,
but they don't win points easily either.
You don't win easily with them. But still, Yanguas is not the typical, the traditional right side player. He can actually smash from far away. I think he likes to go to and push. But then. I mean, it's actually very interesting partnership. It's very interesting because there is not such a difference between the right and the left side player, as you said. You cannot say that the one guy is super attacker and the other is like a defender.
So when they come up against we've seen so far, every time they make the semifinals and they lose, is that because when they go up against, let's say, a team that has attacking players, like if you go up against a Galan, if you go up against obviously Cuello and Tapia, is that a disadvantage when it comes to playing, when you go up this play style against this play style? At the moment, it's a disadvantage to have two building players side by side?
I mean, Koki is evolving. I don't know if you remember 5 years ago, Koki's right overhead here, low Vibora, whatever we want to call it, it was very weak. Now it goes faster, it lowers more. So I think that they are evolving. However, I don't think that Koki is gonna become, a killer. I don't think it's gonna become a killer. However, young ones, I can see that young ones can evolve a little bit more to even be more attacker. It depends how they are gonna evolve. Like I don't know if they are stuck. I mean, of course that's gonna be a disadvantage. But since these guys, they are so hungry, they probably are gonna continue evolving. I mean, they have reached semifinals, in both tournaments, in the last both tournaments.
Yeah, every tournament. So
every
they played
tournament.
3 tournaments. They made the semifinals of every tournament.
So I mean, they should be very good to reach the semifinal.
Yeah.
So it will depend also on the conditions.
Yeah.
I'll back to Koyo for a second. Is Koyo a defensive player? So he's always at the net, but Nacho, we were looking at the stats from his last match against Augsburger and Cardona, who, of course, Augsburger and Cardona are smashing from everywhere, and they had amazing stats. Koyo was only 1 for 3 on smashes, so he didn't smash much, and they weren't efficient. And I tend to see this with my own eyes. I feel like maybe he's not as aggressive as I think he can be. So he's at the net, but he's not really willing to smash, even though he's so tall, and I find him to be very powerful. He's a very unique player for me, Koyo.
Yeah. But in the back, he's good, actually. Like he makes very good lobs. He can defend very well behind the service line, but you see he has the tendency to go. If he has that tendency to go, it's because he probably feels better in from the service line to the net. Actually, let me go one moment to this point, which I think is interesting. In the previous tournament, not Santiago, where was the previous tournament? Miami. Okay. I don't know if you remember, it was semi-final. It was Coello and Tapia against Lebron and Stupa. And when they play against Lebron, what they look for is that Lebron plays right overheads, that he has to play this kind of Víboras or whatever, because he has improved a lot, but still is not too good. So there was very interesting thing was going on was they were playing lobs to Lebron. Lebron was making Víboras, but then Coello was actually going to the net to try to block it.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Then actually Lebron was getting an advantage of that because he was finding the middle, the legs.
Yes.
Then in the final,
I remember. Yeah.
It was Lebron and Stupa, but now it was Chingoto and Galan. And Chingoto said, I wait you here in the back. And then Lebron couldn't damage him because the Vibora is not that good. So from the back, he was really comfy, Then they started to play to Galan a lot. A lot.
And he made them pay.
So this probably responds that Coello feels better in the net. And a ball that for me would be defending in the net, for example, they play an overhead and you block it, for me that's defending. But obviously for Coello, it's not defending. Otherwise, he wouldn't go there. Yeah. But said that, you have to have a player like Tapia or in 10 years ago, Vela with Juan Martín, because in order that your partner can go to the net and you can stay in the back and still manage well, the guy who is in the back must be so good controlling the tempo, knowing how to play soft, how to play fast, when to make the lobs, control the direction. Because when you have one guy in front and you are in the back, the cut for the one who is in the back is huge. There is so many spaces. So in the moment you play a little bit bad, they punish you in the middle, they play you short. So we have to see if Coelho would be number one with another player who is not that good controlling the tempo like Tapia.
It's nice we have you here, Nacho, because I have a question that it's always on my mind. And you are someone who is privileged to speak Spanish. We are not Spanish speakers. So something I love about Padel is that we get to hear what they say in the changeovers. Something I do not love is I do not understand. So I wanted to ask, are we missing out on much as fans from not understanding what's being said in the changeovers?
Yes, a lot.
Yeah. So much, huh?
A lot.
So much.
Yes. Yeah. I was thinking at some point to make some content about putting subtitles to the conversation.
Oh, yeah, that would be amazing.
But probably someone is doing it. I don't know. But it's really interesting what they are talking about. And actually, I have heard some interviews with some coaches, and they say, if we had the micros 5 years ago or 10 years ago, because some people still get shocked, like, okay, how they can talk about that, how they can say that nasty thing to the partner. And the coaches are saying, thank God there was no micros like 10 years ago, because they can say, like, and also from the tactical point of view, they talk interesting things. Also from the mental point of view, I think it's really interesting what they talk.
Yeah. Well, I guess we have to watch with you then, because you can tell us what's going on.
Whenever you want.
Another thing I wanted to ask you, Nacho, you've been you watch not as much as you said, not as much as we watch, but as a player, not like you would say amateur local player, and also a fan. Who would you suggest, like, okay, for example, you tell a player, go watch this person, there's so much to learn from them. We know the guys that we can learn from. I can't watch Tapia and learn much, because he does crazy things. Same thing about all the top 10 guys, I would probably say. What guys, are there people that we should go and watch and, like, okay, this is someone that you can learn from? Go watch him. Go watch her.
I'm going to have an unpopular thought on this. Are you going to
say to watch the women?
That's what everybody says, right? And that's what I used to say. Like, man, forget about watching these guys. Just watch it for fun. If you want to learn, watch women. Okay. Yeah. And I understand. I mean, it's true. It's likely that you can do things. It's quite likely that you can do more similar things as the women than as the men. But this is But I mean, how much do you enjoy watching women and watching men?
I obviously the men is much more exciting. However, I do like to watch. I guess there are specific women I like to watch. And I think because they're similar a bit to the men. Like, I'd like to watch Abea Gonzalez play.
Yeah,
I love watching her play.
But
I love watching Geometry. Delphi Brea. Love, like, the final in Santiago. We were just watching it 2 days ago. It was so enjoyable to watch. It's a shame it ended in how it ended, but I personally love to watch women's paddle much more, even though, because we also follow tennis and we have TSH tennis and we have a podcast in tennis. I think women's paddle is more enjoyable than women's tennis.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm not sure about that, but
for me,
but yeah, there's definitely, I think, players, let's say Nacho, that I think each player can enjoy more according to their preference of play style.
And you have interesting pairs like the young Ostero and Alonso, young players. I guess the new style, they go for their shots and they do not care. Like you said, they're not about building. They're not going to listen to this traditional play style. We're going to play how we want to play. Ostero said, I like to hit víboras and smashes. I'm going to go for my víboras and smashes. So we like both. So give us your answer.
Mira, I think there are two topics here. Is one because I actually moved the conversation to another side. Sorry about that. But you said like what they can learn from professionals,
Yes.
and then I talk about women, and then we have second topic, which is which one do you enjoy watching the most? And okay, so if we see stadiums. We see the schedule of television, how they program the matches. I mean, we have to say the things clearly. Stadiums are almost or half empty when the women are playing, and then when the men are playing, they tend to get full. And then in the audience, when we watch the schedule, usually women are set in times where is the television know that there are going to be less people watching, so that they don't do it the other way around. So we don't have to hide this. People enjoy more watching men because they do different things. It's more spectacular. From the learning point of view, every coach is going to tell you watch women because that's what they like the trainers to be. Tactical, do this, do that, very organized. And I agree. I mean, they play amazing. But again, if I'm preaching that we need more creativity, we need the players to explore more, and let's not be just robot, I cannot tell you now, okay, just watch women if you want to learn. Okay, I think you would get inspiration by watching men, seeing what they are doing, trying sometimes for your level different things. For your level, a different thing could be to play an angle, not to play as Coelho behind the body or something like that. But maybe you get some inspiration. So I think you can learn also from men as well. Of course, again, the most similar thing that you are gonna get in amateur level is to play like women because it's much more tactical. They play kind of simple, but from the having fun and enjoying a match. Let's not be, I don't know how we say in English, hypocrite. I don't remember, but
hypocritical. Yes.
Exactly. Like most of us.
Any specific players, or just in general, just the men?
Usually, again, coaches are gonna tell you check Chingoto, check Dineno, check Bergamini. Why? Because they play very structured. Again, it's the same thing. I don't say that. I say, yes, check these guys, but check Tapia, check Lebron. Yeah, but they are super talented. I agree. But if I'm setting you in a mindset from the very beginning that you cannot do that, that's too difficult, don't try those things, of course, you are not going to try those things. Then, of course, people are intelligent. Like, you don't have to tell them, you are not going to be Tapia. Of course, I know I'm not going to be Tapia. I'm not stupid. But that doesn't mean that let me try. Maybe I can do this. Many of the things that we cannot do is because we believe that we cannot do. Many people even haven't tried, The coach has said that you cannot do that, or you actually believe, that's too difficult. No, I'm not going to try. You would be surprised when you try things actually, I could do this.
Is there a trajectory, maybe like in the beginning, learn from the structured type of players like women, or maybe it's so easy to learn how to build a point and stuff like that, but maybe when you get more advanced, then you start looking at these things? Or should you integrate creativity throughout the process when you're learning and improving Padel?
I mean, it's obvious that there are some players that are more creative than others, but for me, everybody is creative somehow. They can do different things. But the problem is that from the very beginning, we set them in a way that usually is much more about order, organized. So, and I was like that, to be honest. Like before, I used to think, okay, let's be very good in the back, because if you are very good in the back, then at the net you are gonna do better, because you are not gonna feel this anxiety at the net that, if I lose the net, they put me in the back and they are gonna win me. So I used to think like that. still I think that is very important. You feel very good in the back. But I feel nowadays today more like, this is not that simple, that linear. You can practice in the back, but in the moment you can go to the net, explore what is going on there, practice the shot, and I incentivize much more nowadays the players to be creative. And I know that coaches don't like this because usually the players you get in the trainings, they tend to try too difficult things, blah, blah, blah. But I think the good coach will see which kind of player you have. And then, okay, this guy is too too chaotic, because being creative is not being chaotic. Like the creative players, they solve the situations effectively, but in a different way than usually. The chaotic player is not too creative. It's just that he's a chaos, He doesn't know what he's doing and he's messing up. So the coach should understand which kind of player you have, which abilities she or he has, and then try to find a way. And then I agree that there are some players that they actually need structure. They need it. If not, they don't feel secure. But I mean, again, it's the coach abilities to say, okay, you are very structured already. You need this, but sometimes you have to get out of the box to create uncertainty. If not, you become very predictable, and it's kind of easy to play with you.
Okay. Great. Well, I want to ask you also about the women. Do you think that their game is evolving? Like, has also the women's game evolved, or has it been the same?
Yeah, it has evolved a lot. The first players who make a big change in the last 10, 15 years were the twins Sanchez Alayeto. I don't know if you have watched them. There were two players, actually, surprisingly outsiders, coming from tennis. Tall, 181 or something like this. And they started to play very aggressive. Smashes, coming to the net, very good volleys. Until that, women tournaments were really, really, really boring. It was lobs, bandeja, lob. It's really boring, and they changed the game dramatically, and they became number one. And from there, we have the new generations who are much more like them. They smash, they play aggressive when they have to play. Like women before, you haven't watched it, but 20 years ago, it was very conservative, super conservative. Beside Carolina Navarro, and maybe some of the players, Carolina Navarro was number one, was very aggressive too. But most of the players were like very conservative. It has changed. It's evolving as well.
Well, that's interesting because sometimes I am watching women's matches now, and it can get very boring, depending on the conditions. Like if the conditions are very slow and there's in women's paddle there isn't much smashing, but sometimes when you're in those very slow conditions, there's not even one smash the entire match, and it can be tough to watch.
Yeah. No.
The point can go on for so long because they're so good, they don't make mistakes.
Yeah, sorry, the AirPods are running out of battery. Do you listen to me?
Yeah.
Do you hear me?
We still hear you. We hear you.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. And the thing is that we tend to compare. So if you are watching men and suddenly you put women, it's normal that you are, okay, this is so different. It's much slower. Also, the problem with padel, I guess with other sports as well, is from television, it seems really slow, actually. When you go on court at the same height of the court, it's totally different tempo.
Much faster. Yeah.
It's even much faster than if you're watching behind the glass or you're next to the fence.
Yes, that's so true. Yeah.
Like I enjoy, even though it's a nicer view from behind the glass, I enjoy next to the fence because I feel like it's actually as if you're on the court with them.
Yeah, you miss the angles. But actually, the tempo is much faster. I also like to watch it more from the side.
Yeah, that's nice. Okay. Well, last thing I wanted to know regarding, because you talked a lot about the team and team. It's all about team. And I think we've seen this much with Chingoto and Galan, where it feels like they have chemistry, not just on court. So how important is the off court chemistry and the communication to success on the court?
I think you have to have good relationship with your partner. There is one, Bela and Juan Martín Díaz, who were number one for many years. They say that outside of the court, they didn't have good chemistry. But I think that's an exception. I think in general, I always say you cannot behave differently. You cannot put your personality and all your issues outside the court and then enter and you are a new person. If I don't have good relationship with my partner outside the court, it's very difficult that I can handle him and when the things are going wrong, I can tolerate what he's doing if we don't have good relationship in outside. In fact, the other day Stupa said that in the last tournament he decided not to go to have dinner with LeBron and Pozzoni, which is the coach, because he felt he needs some space, his own time, that they've been too long together. So the players also feel it, if they want the things to go well in the court, it has to go also well outside.
Yeah. Then something, because you said you've known LeBron, practiced with him, played with him, and something which is, I think you can give us some insight here, because I feel like Juan LeBron is misunderstood from the outside, from fans. And how is he like as a person?
I don't know him that much. I played with him a couple of tournaments. I have spent a bit of time with him, but I don't know him that much. I feel the guy he has a nice intention. I don't think when he's doing those things on the court, I don't know what is going on. He's so competitive, but I think deep, like inside, the guy has a good intention. And then, maybe he grew in a very easy environment from, how he got the things. And this is my personal opinion. You see that I like to enter in things that I will get issues. But
yeah, no, we're very happy to talk to you, Nacho, because you're one of the most thoughtful people I think we can see on the topic of padel. And we're excited to have a longer conversation that allows us to have the nuanced type of deep conversation so we can learn and get your thoughts and also maybe share with you some of ours. Yeah. But Haroon, maybe you want to take it from here so we can...
I think, you can take it. Take it away.
Okay. All right, Nacho, so maybe, we know you have a lot of unique opinions about padel, about the tour, about the players.
And deep thoughts.
So we'll ask you, we'll wrap up here with a quick fire segment. I'll ask you some very simple, straightforward questions. You give me what comes to your mind right away. And because we want to know your thoughts on these things. All right? Okay. So number one, who's the most underrated player on tour right now?
Campagnolo.
Oh.
Awesome. Any young player you think will break into the top 10 soon?
Guerrero.
Who has the best smash?
Tapia.
Ooh. Who has the best bandeja, vibro, whatever you want to call it, right-handed shot?
Sanjo.
Ooh. Nice. Who has the best vibora?
The best vibora, Sanjo, for me. Bandeja, there is nobody with bandeja, I think.
It's over. Bandeja's over.
It was a trick question. No answer.
Who has the best volleys?
Galan.
Nice.
Galan.
Who has the best Galan? Who has the best lobs?
Chingoto.
Who has the best chiquitas?
LeBron.
Oh.
Who has the best disguised shots? You can't tell
Tapia.
what he's going to
Tapia.
do. Tapia. Oh. Right. Who has the best overall defense?
In the back or in the net?
Good question. Who has the best defense in the back?
Chingoto.
And who has the best defense up front?
Coelho.
Good. Who's the most mentally tough?
Tapia.
And who's the most tactically smart?
To change some player, Dineno, honestly.
Dineno. Nice. All right, last two. Favorite match you've ever watched?
It has to be one of Christian Gutierrez, and most of people don't know who. He's now coaching professional level. One of this guy. He was a guy with a hand, with an amazing hand. I was watching his match from the last World Championship. He's playing now in senior, so he's playing over 40. So I was still watching his matches because I enjoy him so much.
Wow. Okay. Hardest skill for amateurs to master?
The overheads.
Overheads. The last one. One thing you wish more paddle fans understood about this game?
That is a team sport.
Awesome.
Love it.
Awesome. That was awesome, Nacho.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And we'll wrap this up with a final few questions. Nacho, thank you again for your time and giving us all your deep insights into everything. So before we go, what advice would you give aspiring paddle players and coaches? One thing.
For starting coaches or
Yes, aspiring paddle players and coaches.
for starting? Okay.
Yeah.
For players to, as I said, to question. Don't believe everything. Try, explore. If you have a background already in any sport, I'm sure that you can benefit from that background into paddle. Don't get too stick to the paddle books because the sport, it has to be still created. And for coaches, probably similar, but then I would add, keep on studying, keep on actually watching what are they doing in trainings in other sports, because I don't think the majority of paddle coaches, they are just seeing other coaches training paddle, but actually you would learn a lot by seeing what are they doing in other sports. And the same question, the status quo, the same thing, like trainings methods are still to be created. There is just one way, the Argentinian and the Spanish way, and there are many other ways that I'm sure that you can train different ways for sure. So keep
That's
on
perfect.
open.
Awesome, Nacho. And one last thing for people that are listening that reached this point in the podcast: where should they follow you, and how can they connect with you? If you can just let people know.
I have my personal account on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. It's called Nacho Porto. The most popular one is on Instagram, that is called Coach Nacho Porto. And then if they want to train with me, I spend time, most of the year I spend it in Finland, which is where I'm based. But during summer times and other periods of times, I go to Malaga, to the south of Spain, where I'm going to start actually running some camps and some events for coaches.
Very nice. Awesome. And where in Finland are you, so they know?
Oof, the city, it's called, well, I call it like this. I guess Finnish make fun of me when I say it's called Jyväskylä, which is 2 hours and a half from Helsinki, which is the capital area.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Perfect.
Fantastic. Nacho, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you. This has been one of the most insightful conversations I think we've ever had on the sport of paddle, and you're very thoughtful and reflective and bright, and I can't wait for us to do more of this, number one.
Yeah.
And I can't wait what people are going to react and say and think about this conversation. And hopefully we can keep this going together in the future as well.
Yeah.
Chavales, as not to be corporative, because if I'm corporative, I should say very politely, guys, no, chavales, which means guys in Spanish. It has been a real pleasure. I felt like at home. I could talk about all the topics that actually I would like to cover in this kind of conversations. So thank you very much. Continue with the podcast. When I have watched your clips on Instagram, it's nice because you are very passionate. Like you are, and this guy. So I think you are transmitting a lot of passion and energy, and I think you are entering in some topics that probably people are getting. You are getting not so nice comments sometimes, like this guy. Yeah. But I think we need more people like you, brave, saying what they think, and thinking out of the box.
That's
amazing. Well, actually, there was one question we didn't touch on, Nacho, which is the one that we got a lot of negative reactions for, which is our thoughts on Tolito and Gonza.
Oh!
We didn't touch on Tolito and Gonza. You also had thoughts on Tolito and Gonza. Maybe, okay, last thing before we go. What are your thoughts about Tolito and Gonza?
I like them a lot because of all the things I've been preaching. We need more players with that creativity. Okay, then from the professional point of view and all these things, I mean, I don't know so much, but of course, if you see Tolito's weight, you know that somehow an athlete should be in better shape. Okay, however, we don't know what is happening to that guy. He might have emotional problems or problems with the way he eats or whatever, so we cannot judge from the sofa. But we need more players like them. It's so fun to watch them, so fun. And they are a pain in the ass for most of the players we have seen. Yeah. They are, many players are struggling with them.
They're struggling. Stupa LeBron went to final set with them, and so did Paquito and Bergamini.
Yes.
So they are a problem.
They are a problem.
Okay, all right. More for next conversation, Coach Nacho. But
I just do want to say one thing to you, Nacho, and what you're doing is very important for Padel because, as you said, as much as it's not important that you want to be your own person, you don't want to just copy and paste, but to transfer the information and you're able to tell it in a very nice way, whether through your videos and now speaking with us right now in English, which is I think very, very important because at the end of the day, if you want the sport to grow, you need to speak the language that people can understand, and I think you're doing that in a very nice way. So I think you are going to be very important in Padel, and you are now, and you're going to be even more important. So also good luck to you, and I hope big things come your way soon.
Thank you very much from the heart.
Bigger things. Already big things are becoming maybe bigger things, hopefully.
No, as you said, Padel's growing, and it's going to need people that know this sport and have that experience, and most importantly, speak English so more people can understand.
100%. Even though with my Spanish accent, but still, I think people understand.
Oh, no.
You speak perfect English, my friend. You speak perfect English.
You speak perfect, our friend.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, guys. Again, I have enjoyed a lot. I don't have words to appreciate that you put this time to me, and especially that you listen to me. So thank you so much.
Awesome.
Thank you,
guys.
Thank you.
Well, that wraps up another episode of the Padel Pulse podcast, powered by TSH Padel. We hope you guys enjoyed the conversation. Subscribe and follow so you can get all your weekly Padel content here. And we'll see you again next week, and hopefully we'll see you again soon with Nacho.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Hopefully. Thank you very much.
Adios.
Ciao.
Awesome.
Adios.
Vamos, vamos, vamos!